Hello, welcome back. And now we're going to have Sherri Leopold. She's going to be joining us, and um, she's going to tell you how to go from stuck to unstoppable. So with that, I'm going to let her take the edition, and she's amazing. I can't wait for her to talk to you and check it out. Let me see.
Hi, everybody. What a great day we've had here. My name is Sherri Leopold. I'm the CEO of Option Creators and Dream Big with Sherri
Hear it?
Leopold and the leader of the Stop Self-Bullying movement. My mission here today is to empower you with a 3-step formula to help you stand up and stand out as the unrepeatable miracle that you are. I'm going to do that by sharing with you a 3-step formula. Why? Because it's your time to shine. Before I share these 3 steps with you, we're going to talk first about this miracle thing. Now I know we're not really thinking, I'm not really that big of a deal. But you don't think you're a miracle? I can prove it to you. It's actually science. Did you know that there's not a single person on this planet, literally with 8 billion people, that's exactly like you? They don't have your DNA. And even though people say, oh, you're just like so-and-so, or even multiple births, yet they're not the same. Regardless, there is only one you. And in my mind, that is a miracle. And that's the miracle of you. So there could be trillions of combinations of who you could have been with that one egg and one sperm, but you turned out exactly like you are. And I turned out exactly like I am. And that's because we are a miracle that is not duplicated anywhere on this planet. If you have identical twins and you have multiple births, they may have a lot of similarities. They may look identical, but they're not identical in the fact that they'll have completely different personalities and different traits. They'll have completely different strengths and talents. And here's the thing, one might like broccoli, one may hate it. One might be completely extroverted and one might be a total introvert. They may look alike, but they're not the same because there's only one you. And you are a miracle in that regard because you're not duplicated. So now that we have that out of the way, you, my friends, are a treasure. You are a one of a kind. And this is a critical component in understanding how to go from stuck to unstoppable, which is what we're going to talk about today. You are unstoppable. You may just not realize it yet. And we're going to work on these 3 things, and that's what's going to help you move from stuck to unstoppable. But our goal today, since that's our goal, we're going to get right to it. So the first thing that you can do to stand up and stand out as that unrepeatable miracle and get to that unstoppable point is to fuel your insides with great nutrition. Now, that may be not what you thought I was going to say, but I'm going to tell you there's a very critical component in fueling your insides of you, because the insides of you affects everything you do. And the number one thing that you can do is water yourself. No, it sounds ridiculous, but most people are running around in a dehydrated state. It is a fact that Mayo Clinic states that you should be drinking half of what you weigh in pounds and ounces of water. It's an easy formula. 150-pound person should be drinking 75 ounces of water. If you desire to lose a pound or two, you should be drinking a gallon. That's 128 ounces. It may seem like a lot. You can work your way up. But here's the thing, when you're not drinking half of what you weigh in pounds and ounces, you're operating in a dehydrated state. Your organs suffer. The insides of you suffer. And when the insides of you suffer, your performance suffers. Physical, emotional, mental, all of it. Even a 2% deficit in your hydration, and you will have brain fog. That is not what somebody who wants to up level and who wants to show up as unstoppable and just crush it in their career. You don't walk around in a dehydrated state because your brain is not going to operate at optimal capacity. So fueling your insides with great nutrition. And the first thing about nutrition is to water yourself. Think of yourself as if it's that plant that's in the corner that you neglected to water. That's exactly what the insides of you are doing if you don't water yourself. The second thing about the inside is that remember that food is fuel. It creates the body you live in. You need to stand up powerfully, but you need to feel good in that body when you're standing up. Give yourself good fuel. Just like a car that's been designed to run on premium fuel, you aren't going to go to the pump and go put something like regular fuel in it. Why? Because it's not going to function at its optimum performance. That's what you do when you eat a lot of fast foods and processed foods and things like that. Give yourself great fuel, premium grade fuel. I always like to say, eat the colors of the rainbow. The more colorful your food, the better you're going to feel. So that's the reason you want to eat the colors of the rainbow. Now, our food sources and soil, unfortunately, are very woefully depleted. So like what was in a tomato 10 years ago is nowhere near what's in a tomato today, partly because of the soil, partly because of a lot of things in the environment. So what are we going to do? We're going to supplement ourselves. This is part of what we're talking about, fueling our insides. Now, I'm going to encourage you to get on a premium nutritional supplement program, because if you can't feel the impact of your vitamins helping you, it's probably not doing you much good. You are worth it. Your body is worth it. I always say we can't go to the body store and get another part if one doesn't work well or it fails on us. So we have to be very aware of taking care of what we've been given. So I personally use Lavelle's supplement line, and that's up to you. I just encourage you to go find a very high quality one with very good ingredients. Very much dig into the ingredients, make sure there's no fillers, do your research, and make sure you're using a good quality supplement. Watering yourself, eating the correct foods, and supplementing so that you get the full up in here inside, because this is what you're going to use to crush it in life, is what you're walking around in. So if you have a favorite supplement, I would love it if you want to share it in the comments. If you have questions about mine, I'm happy to just reach out to me and I can share that with you. Fuel your insides. That's the first step. Take care of the body you're in. The second step in this formula is to mind your mind. We have to mind our mind because this is where everything is coming from. We need to know who we are, but we also need to love who we are. And this is often a huge element that keeps people stuck. We have to get our minds right about what we believe about ourselves. And if we truly desire to move from stuck to unstoppable, I suggest you understand what your own personal strengths are. Now, I might say something like, I'm strong, I'm capable, and I empower people every day to live the life they deserve. That might be something I say about myself. But see, I know what my talents are and I know what my strengths are. My question to you is, do you even know what you want? It's one thing that'll keep you stuck, is not knowing. Do you know who you are? This will also keep you stuck if you don't know. If I were to ask you, who are you and what do you want to do with your life? Could you tell me without thinking too hard about it or hem-hawing? Oh, that's the thing. We have to mind our mind. What's going on in here? And the other thing I would ask you is, are you aware at all of how others see you? That's a really important component. Not because we need their opinion, but it's because who we think we are, we want to make sure that we're showing up in the world how we think we are. People perceive us with their own lenses, right? But we want to make sure that we are putting off who we really are. And so it's important to know how other people see you and be aware of it. Because if the way you see yourself and other people say to you things like, oh my gosh, you're this, this, and this. And if you don't see that, That's a huge incongruency. And that is going to be very difficult for you to move to that unstoppable point and really crush those goals you've set for yourself if that's not congruent. We need to make sure that who we think we are and who others perceive us to be is like this. This is how we plug in our own power cord. So, understanding that, how do you fit in the world? Do you fit in with the traits that you've identified as your strengths? Do you have the right network around you to feel powerful, to feel important and incredible and just love who you are? If not, I have a class you might be interested in that I teach that's called Who Am I? And it's actually, we deep dive. If you can't answer some of these questions that we've talked about in the Mind Your Mind section, you probably need to take that class, because we need to get you to a point where you can say, yes, I'm Sherri and I do this, blank, blank, blank. You want to be able to say who you are, what you're about, what your core values are, what you stand for, and how you're showing up in the world. So one of the points I want to mention here is that when we're talking about minding your mind, you've got to make sure that you love yourself big. It's one of the most important parts, because people cannot outlove you. The level to which you love you is the only level they'll be able to love you. Very difficult in relationships, both in work and in personal relationships, if you don't love you. And I'm going to tell you, people do business with who they know, like, and trust. And if you don't like who you are, they won't like you and they won't do business with you. And you will always be stuck, not unstoppable. The third point and final point is that your input determines the output. The input means what goes in, right? What you feel, what you watch, what you hear is going, and what you see is going to create the output. This includes books. It includes a whole bunch of learning materials, like, you know, if you're a YouTuber or you take courses, things like that. Whatever you watch on TV and the internet is going to impact this. If you're watching violent or disturbing television, you're probably going to have a disturbed energy flow. Input through the eyes or the ears or whatever it enters your consciousness will contribute to the undesired output in your thoughts or actions, and also in your relationships. You have to control what comes in, and that includes toxic people. So mind your mind, right? Requires knowing your brain's always listening. It's always on, literally always on. It's the one thing that it never turns off. Your brain is never asleep. It's always on. It always has input, so it can give output, right? The output is it's telling your organs and your body and things to keep working while you're sleeping. The thing that's important to remember about your brain is that your words create your world. Using I am statements to manifest your future is so important. And it's not just trendy, it's reality. I'm going to explain that in just a second, but know that your brain will execute whatever you think about, including if you're stressing. This is what I suggest. Use lavender, use box breathing, because it'll be enhanced if you are stressed. You can do this box breathing before you go to bed at night to relax your mind. Anytime during the day, if you're working and you're stressed, it's a great thing to be able to do. You need to control the input and output. The input is also your thoughts in your head. The other thing is speak only what you want to multiply. Your subconscious doesn't understand negatives. I want you to understand this. It doesn't hear the word not. So what does this mean for you? If you have debt and you're constantly saying, I don't want this debt. I don't want this debt. Your brain hears, I want this debt. This is why the I am statements are so important. It cannot process the negative, and the brain is always executing for you, solution finding. And when it hears that, it can't hear the not. So it's saying execute, execute, execute. This is why your personal I am statements are so critically important. Your brain's always listening. And this is what causes my favorite hashtag, make good choices, because we choose what we think about, right? And what we choose to think about impacts what we actually do. So make good choices. Why? Because choices create change. I'm going to say that again. Choices create change. Change your choices and your choices change. Choices create change. Change your choices and your choices will change. Anytime you're in a bad spot, make a choice, make a different choice. You'll have another choice. And then something will change. It's the way the world works. So change your choices change. Speak what you want to multiply. And if you feel negativity creeping back in, fall back on your I am meditations, because your input creates your output. And one of the most important parts of your input creating your output is the stop movement that I mentioned earlier. I talk more in depth about it in my Self-Bullying, What to Do When the Bully Is You book. But right now, I just want to explain what it sounds like. Saying things like, I'm so stupid, or why did I do that? I can't believe I did that. Or I'm so fat, or I don't have any friends. I'm always going to be broke. Listen, friends, words create worlds. Your words will create your world. Speak well, right? Hashtag make good choices. If you don't like where you are, you're the boss, applesauce. I used to teach that to my preschoolers. You're the boss, applesauce. I'm the boss of me. That's what I teach people to say. Because being in control of your choices is you standing up and standing out as that unrepeatable miracle and getting yourself unstuck. So if you focus on those 3 items, fueling your insides nutritionally with water, mind your mind, know your strengths, who you are and what you want, and that your input, what you're taking in, you're seeing and listening to, will create your output. That's how you're going to find yourself moving from stuck to unstoppable. It doesn't happen overnight. You've got to give yourself grace to grow and evolve, because you didn't get where you are if you're stuck in one day. It's a process. I want you to know it's been an absolute honor for me to be with you here today. I want to invite you to visit me at sherrileopold.com, and together we can stand up and stand out as the unrepeatable miracle both you and I were created to be. You have the power to go from stuck to unstoppable, because you, my friend, are an unrepeatable miracle. Remember, this is an inside job, and it's your job. Hello. Oh, you're on mute.
That always happens.
I know. I always forget to. I almost did too. I was like, oh, wait.
Oh my God. That was amazing. Thank you so much for sharing all that, because I think we all forget and we need to go from stuck. We even when we feel a little stuck, and who's going to stop us,
And,
right?
and I also think that you're right. And I think we are always our own worst critics. And I think, I don't know, I think maybe it's just human nature, but we just seem to be driven to point to the things that we either don't do as well, or that we maybe, I hate to even use the word fail, because I'm all for fail forward, but I think the things, if we don't do perfect, we always isolate those things and point to those things instead of looking at all the amazing things that we accomplish. We always point to the thing that we lack. And I think it's time to shift that whole thought process, because you'll always be stuck if that's where you are. And the thing is, you keep other people stuck if you're constantly focusing on that. To really move to that unstoppable point is just to say, I can do anything I want. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. I believe in me, and I'm going to do what I want. I mean, it's like, just grab the power reins and say, let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go. Hashtag make good choices.
Make good choices. I think so. I think yes, and I completely agree. We are our worst enemy. Sometimes we doubt ourselves. We let all these little things get on the way, and sometimes we need to go back to basic, simplify it, take out all the noise, and
You
then
know what?
just
And a
one.
good way to do that, Anirka, a little, if you want to say a tool, is to actually, when you hear that, and it's inner voice, really, I call it Ivy. If you really suffer with it a lot, I actually really teach that you should name it, because you should just literally say the name of whatever your inner voice is and say, shut up. Because like you need to shut it down, right? And like we understand that affirmative, shut it. So that's one part of the tool, but the other part is just really getting a hold of your own power, harnessing that, and say, I own it, and I am me, and I'm in charge of me. I might have said it in the talk. I'm the boss applesauce. I say it all the time, and I teach people to say I'm the boss applesauce. But the one thing you always want to remember to ask yourself is, when that little voice is, I always say, the little thing on your shoulder that's going, you didn't do that very well, or you made a mistake, or this or that. So ask yourself, is it true? That's the first thing. Is it true? Because a lot of times it's actually not actually true. It's just we're trying to think ill of ourselves. So we need to actually find out if what we're beating ourselves up about is actually factual. And a lot of times it's just not even true.
Yes,
Is it true?
isn't true because
And is it going to matter in 2 weeks or in 3 years?
well, and that's the thing, right? When we try to make things perfect, we wait for the perfect moment. Let's use our fear talking.
Yes,
You
100%.
know, there's no such thing as perfect.
And this is like, I want to just tell you, this is, I think, the seventh time that this conversation has come up in the last 7 days with 7 different people. Now, the reason that this is important is because I always feel like when things come up all the time like this, it's a signal for me to speak up about it. So I just want to say something about being perfect. Being perfect, and that perfection complex is that we have to do things a certain way, is that my friend Tanya White always says that she has a line in her book that says perfection is planned failure. And I love that saying because it's so true, is that if you are focused on perfection, the thing is, it's actually like trying to catch an oiled pig. You keep running after it and you keep trying to grab onto it, but it keeps slipping out of your hands. You can't actually get a hold of it, right? And this is what it's like for perfection. And I use this example because I've written 10 different books, and I've worked with other authors, and so I've had to say to them, okay, here's the cutoff date. You can't change anything after this date, and here's why. Because people that have that really perfectionist tendency, what they do is they change it every time they look at it, because every time they look at it, they think, oh, why did I do that? Why did I say that? Maybe I should write this. I know this because I do it when I paint and I draw. I have to walk away from it at some points. And now other people would walk up to it and go, oh my gosh, I can't believe you did that. And I look at it and I see every imperfection and thing that I would change today. Now you wonder, why do we do that? That's because we wake up different every day. We have a different mindset. We've slept well. We haven't slept well. We've drank the water. We haven't drank the water. We're cranky. We're not mentally clear. We wake up and we are slightly different every single day. That is why what's perfect today will not feel perfect tomorrow. That's why it's planned failure. You're never the same exactly from day to day. You can't attain that. And here's, if you got to be a perfectionist, here's what you got to tell yourself: this is perfect in this moment.
It
You
is
just adopt that. This is perfect in this moment. And I choose to leave it as it is. It's perfect in this moment.
I think that works.
That's right. Just like this event, this is perfect in this moment. You can pick it apart and you can say, I should have done this and I should have done that, but it's perfectly fine exactly as it is at this moment and who it's impacting, right? It's perfect the way it is
I
today.
second that. I second that. Let's
Yeah,
not talk about technical
of course.
issues.
Sure. It's perfect.
That's perfect.
Now you can choose to do something different next time. So it's not like we don't learn from it, but we don't have to wish we did something different. We did what we did and we created what we created. And it was the masterpiece that it is. And it gets to exist in that state of perfection in that moment. And that's where the joy is, right? We
Yeah,
did it.
we did it.
And it's way better than the one that somebody else was too chicken to finish and do.
Exactly. Because
That's
getting it done is half of the fun,
right.
and half of the job. You never get it done, you never start it, um, then it's never going to be perfect for sure.
That's right.
Because
And the thing is, it perfect for who, right? Because I could think, oh my gosh, this is perfect. Somebody else could look at it and go, that's awful. Like, because why? They have a different perception. This is whole thing. Perception is reality. And that's the truth is your perception changes every day and your perception is different than my perception is different from somebody else's. So it's impossible to actually find or catch the greased pig, right? It's because it doesn't exist and it's not the same. The pig isn't the same for everybody. So you can't actually harness it. You can't get to it. So just enjoy it. Understand that it's perfect in the moment as it is. Like even watching myself, I'm like, oh, I did this, I did that. Like, you know what? Whoever needed to hear it heard it that way, and that was fine.
and I think there's something to it, right? Where when we do something that we were maybe afraid of doing, and we overcome that fear, it impacts our decision, impact our life because we did it. We
Sure.
succeeded. We scaled that mountain, right? And and then maybe you practice and you do it again, but it's not as important anymore because you already overcome it.
That's
But the
right. And you
first
learn, right? You learn. I jokingly say, Erica, well, did you die? Like when people say I was really nervous, but I'm like, did you die? No, you didn't. You learned something, you did it, and you probably might do it differently if you do it again tomorrow. But that's because you learned something. You learn through action, you improve through action. And inaction is always a choice as well, but like today, you chose to take action to create this amazing event
I did.
and you'll continue to improve and do new ones and do other ones and do it as an improvement as you see it, right? Because it's yours, and whatever way that is perfectly okay.
It's perfectly okay.
That's right.
All right. So, you say you had a gift that you wanted to share with the audience?
I'm like, I'm not even sure what I promised. I can't even remember. Isn't that terrible? It's funny. I think it's on my SherriLeopold.com. I have a couple different things on there. But I would really encourage people to go grab that freebie that's on my SherriLeopold.com because it's actually 10 tips to be a self-care rock star is on there. And I think that's what I put, but I'm kind of letting the cat out of the bag here. I'm actually going to be giving away some of my books that I said that I had written. I'm going to be giving away some of those to my email list. So I'd love for you to go grab that freebie because then you'll be up on that list to get that. So
And which of those 9 books are you going to give away?
well, maybe it'll be a secret. It might be this one. I don't know. This one is mine, and that's a really important one to me personally. I think the first one I'm going to give away though is going to be one of my collaborative ones because it's really whole approach to health and wellness, and so I think I'm gonna be giving that one away first. So
Well, it was an honor have you here, and
Thank you.
you need to look her up. She's the leader of Stop Self Bullying movement. That tell you a lot.
Yes. And you know what? Here's the thing. If I could do one thing while I'm on this planet, that is to help each and every person fall in love with themselves more. You know what? You cannot outlove other people can't outlove you. So you have to just love what this is. Every piece of it, no qualifiers, not when you lose 10 pounds, not when you have this job, not when you get this income level, exactly as you are right now at this moment. Give yourself the grace to say, I'm pretty awesome. And
Because
I love me.
I love me.
I love me. That's right.
Love me. I want everybody that is listening to this to put that comment and post it and put I love me.
I love me. Yes, absolutely. And you know what? The thing is, the more you love yourself, it's like energetically, the joy will flow to you. You will attract better people. There is every single thing that will come from that ability to love yourself more. There are so many good things. I can't even list them all. So, you know what? Step forward and say, you know what? I'm okay. In fact, I am an unrepeatable miracle. That's why I started with that today, because you are an unrepeatable miracle exactly as you are. And you should love the you that is you.
And we got some people already saying I love me and you too.
And I love those people too.
We had
It makes it
Queen.
easier to love. Like when you love yourself, it's so much easier to open yourself up to loving other people too, which is amazing.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much. And we have one comment I wanted to mention. Queen Kimmy say this was full of energy and so sincere. Thank you.
Thank you, Queen Kimmy. She is an amazing human being and one who I know loves herself. You know what? You begin to, when you are fully loving yourself, you actually begin to attract, but you can also identify those people really easily, energetically, because you can see them. And that's her. And I see Leslie on there too. And same thing. You get to, you can see it. And you'll start to attract that. And it becomes this incredible network that surrounds you of just joy and positive energy. And you know what? It all starts when you say, yes, I love me.
Yes, I love me. I think we all need to make that decision today.
Yes, and I love you, Nerica. So thank you. And thank you for having me. Thank you so much. I'm so appreciative that you considered having me speak, and it's been such an honor.
Thank you. I think you are the right person for this segment because who better? Okay, so with that, we're going to say bye for a minute while we transition because we have Leslie Klein coming to join us now.
Nice. She's
Nice.
awesome.
She's
Thank
awesome.
you.
Thank you. Ciao.
Bye.